Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Yeshua. Before I get into this message, I want to start out by giving all praises, all glory, and all honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Akwakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, whom rule and teach well, all of whom I learn from daily, whom taught me this truth through the Spirit. This is going to be a lesson, kind of a get back or a repeat somewhat of what's going on, of top news stories and how we can apply scripture to them to kind of bring some clarity into things. So, but before we get into scripture, I'm going to bring up this news story. This is a news story from last year. This was a guy, Larry Nassar. He was a coach that had abused up to 150 women and girls. And I bring this up because after he was found guilty, he got sentenced to prison. And then after he was sentenced to prison, he was stabbed. Now this is the article of when he was stabbed. Larry Nassar, the ex-USA gymnastics doctor who sexually abused girls for decades, was stabbed 10 times in prison. Now, when this article came out, when people found out that he was stabbed in prison, even the news anchors were kind of scoffing. They were kind of, they were kind of low key scoffing at his judgment, and rightfully so, because he had abused a lot of children, and some of the parents of the victims, they were on social media saying good, he deserved it, and so the world as a whole was celebrating in his day of judgment. And so I bring this up because just as the world was celebrating his day of judgment, so should we celebrate the days of judgment of the wicked. So I bring that up to parallel it with this story here. I'm going to play this story, and then we're going to get some scripture to kind of bring into light of what's going on here. Because again, we have to be able to apply the same formula to different aspects. 2 plus X equals 4. You have to apply the same formula to every situation. If not, it's not a formula, and it's based on feelings. All right, just like you guys were able to apply that formula and mocked Larry Nassar's judgment when he was stabbed, this right here is judgment. So this is an Edomite, he's got this channel and he's bringing this story up. But you know what? I see a lot of parallels in this story, because just like this young girl was fooled into going out with her dude to the forest, and then got taken advantage of. This is what you guys did to the so-called natives, to the Gadites. This is what you did to the so-called Hispanics, to the Aztecs. When y'all landed, y'all said, your words were like honey, but you cut us, man. You destroyed us. There was a battle with the Native Americans, so-called, where Christopher Columbus had the people go out and show them how to farm, or pick certain fruits or something like that. I forget the specifics, but it was a ruse. While the men were out teaching them, he had men stay back and slaughtered that whole village. And so that's a parallel here. The girl was dealt deceitfully. And so when you see things like this, it pulls at your heartstrings because it's a little girl, but we have to keep in mind what Scripture says. Though that little girl may be innocent to you, Job 4:7 tells us, remember I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where was the righteous cut off? What does this mean? There are none that are innocent, because though this kid may be innocent, you don't know what she did in her past life. This was an Edomite. Let's not forget who these people are. Scripture tells us that we all come back, that judgment is under the sun. That's Ecclesiastes chapter 3. The place of judgment is under the sun. So when we die, we go up into the spirit world, and then we come back every 2 or 3 generations according to Scripture. So you don't know what this girl did in her past life. That's what Job 4:7 says. And if you don't believe Job 4:7, here's some more scripture here. This is Exodus 34:7. This is the Most High keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin for the Israelites. All right, because transgression of sin, who sinned? Who was the law given to? To the Israelites. So the Israelites sinning after the law was given to them, that's the forgiveness. You can't be forgiven for a law that was never given to you. So this is talking about the Israelites. You have to use some critical thinking here. And then it brings up the wicked here. And that will by no means clear the guilty. Who is the guilty? The guilty are the Edomites and the heathen nations that all held us in derision for a time. Whether you set up your liquor stores in our neighborhoods and gave us poison, or whether you enslaved us, or whether you had a hand in the boats or in the shacks, if you built a slave house, if you took a part in our derision, you are the guilty. And the Most High says he will by no means clear you. How? This is how. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and upon the children's children, unto the 3rd and to the 4th generation. So any wickedness done to, when you heathen nations and you wicked Edomites touch the apple of the Lord's eyes, which are the Israelites, you so-called blacks, natives, Hispanics, that made you guilty. And Scripture here is telling you he will by no means clear you for what you have done. And he will bring judgment to who? To your children. So that's how we apply the Scripture. Again, it pulls at your heartstrings. We're human, but let's go into the Scriptures and console our spirit and remind ourselves this is what's going on. None have perished being guilty. This is judgment. And just as you guys saw that headline with Larry Nassar when people were laughing at him in his day of judgment, apply that same here. We can. There's scripture that says, I think the psalmist David says, how your enemies are my enemies, how I hate them with a perfect hatred. We're supposed to be joyful on the day of judgment. I mean, let me pose this question. If you had a kid and somebody bashed their head on a rock, would you not rejoice the day that person's kid had their head bashed on a rock? The answer is yeah. Ecclesiastes 3:16. Moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and that in the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. You see, the Most High Yahweh cannot be around wickedness. There is no wickedness being done in heaven. Only righteousness. All the wickedness that's taken place takes place on earth. That's what this scripture is telling you. And the place of judgment is under the sun, which is where? Planet Earth. Because our spirit goes up into the spirit world and then comes back. And just like Exodus 34:6 said, he visits the iniquities and he forgives even unto the 3rd generation. I think I've got a couple more scriptures and then we're going to close it out. Let's get Amos 3:6 here. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city and Yahweh has not done it? There is nothing that happens on this planet that hasn't been planned by the Most High Yahweh. Okay, that's what this scripture says. You know, for all you people saying, you know, this would have never happened if there was no immigration. No, this is exactly what had to have happened. Yahweh has done it. Most High did that. He sent judgment. You know, he sent judgment under the sun to either this kid for what she did in her past life, or for her parents and what they did in their past lives. Let's get one more story here. This is another one where these Edomites are, you know, one of border czar Kamala Harris's illegal shoots Texas police officer. This guy, Chacon, 25, a Venezuelan national, was lying in bed with a rifle, opened fire on officers who returned fire, wounding a female officer. Dude was killed, but this was judgment sent from another country. Now, check this out. I want to get this here. Fucking fly. I want to get this here in Wisdom of Solomon. I think it's 16 or 18. But when you see stories like this is because he turned himself. Hold on. I want to bring up a scripture. For when the unrighteous, neither the corner nor power, only there appeared to them. Therefore they were promised, though the wickedness condemned. I think it was 18 and 6. When they were determined to slay, the people accepted righteous master and the servant. No, I think it was 16. But there's a scripture here. I was reading it. Sons of very teeth. No, this ain't it. It's like 16 or 17. You guys, please bear with me here. Fear, expectation, husbandman. And when they had determined to slay on that night, so that they're punished. But on the other side, the master, so they kill innumerable. They would not believe. Brought down on fiend, dreams, tasting death. The blameless overcame. Man, I could have sworn it was. I could have sworn it was 16, you guys. Please bear with me. Then bitings overcame them. They were ready to be punished. They were pricked. As power of man killed through. It's not possible that the night for which sometimes mitigated. There you go. There you go. 16 and 18. I knew it was a 6 and 8 in there. This is Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 18. For some time, this is talking about the judgment on the Egyptians. For some time, the flame was mitigated, that it might not burn up the beasts that were sent against the ungodly, but themselves might see and perceive that they were persecuted with the judgment of Yahweh. What is this saying? During the time of judgment, when there was hail being rained down on Egypt, the hail was only killing the Egyptians, and it was not killing the beasts that were also killing the Egyptians. Why? He made it this way so that they could know, hey, these hailstones are falling from the sky, and they're not killing these animals. They're only killing us. It's because you had a target on you. The Most High specifically had this thing come out from space to get that specific person. That's what this scripture is saying, so that those would know that judgment was on them. So when you read a story like this, this guy came from Venezuela, just like those hailstones came from the sky and hit one specific target, which was the Egyptians. This guy came from another country and hit one specific target, which was these cops. You know what I'm saying? That's how the Most High works. He does something so extravagant so that you know, he puts a target on your ass, man. You know, so that's how we have to bring these stories into clarity, understanding judgment and understanding how the Most High executes judgment. All right, and I'm going to end it with this scripture, 1 Kings 21 and 29, because just as the Most High can follow, the generations with judgment, he can also follow the Israelites with forgiveness, because Ahab sinned. This was after he had stolen land from an Israelite, and the prophet condemned him, and but he humbled himself. Fucking bitch. 1 Kings 21:29. Seest thou how Ahab humbles himself before me? Because he humbled himself before me, I will not bring evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. So this is again showing you that the Most High will have mercy on whom he will have mercy, but he will follow judgment even unto your next generation. So I hope this lesson has been edifying. I hope it brings some perspective. And to those of you that are just coming into the truth, when you see us laughing at your day of calamity, on days like this, you might think it's evil, but that's because you don't understand. And I'll be transparent. When I first came into the truth, a very close friend of mine, a brother in the truth, he would be laughing at days when there would be school shootings and these Edomites would die, and me being a babe, I'd be like, hey man, that's kind of fucked up. But no, that's because I was without understanding. When I was a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away those childish things. That understanding came in. And when you understand reincarnation and judgment and what these people have done to us, then you begin to praise the day. How beautiful is the judgment of the Most High, man. So I hope, why do I say that? For you newcomers, because when you might see us Israelites, laughing at the day of the judgment of others. This is why. Because you guys did evil to the Most High's people, man. And this is judgment. And so we rejoice in it. And furthermore, we wait for the day of judgment on Babylon the Great. So I hope this lesson has been edifying. And with that, I say shalom.